Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men The Age of Apocalypse Wave 2 Colossus Build-A-Figure. This is the highlight figure of the wave, kind of like Dark Beast, I would say, was the highlight of Wave 1. Here we have Sabertooth. We know Sabertooth had to be coming because we had Wild Child in Wave 1, and he came with that really cool little chain accessory piece, and you could not have Wild Child without Sabertooth. Yes, Toy Biz did release an AoA Sabertooth, but of course Hasbro had to release a new one to go along with the new figures, right? Well, of course they did. It may have taken a full year to get it, but we got it, and it is an awesome, awesome looking figure that I am extremely excited about because it's definitely got to be the best figure of the wave, hands down. So let's get right to it. So for those that are going to be wondering and asking, I got my wave from toysnowman.com. They are based in Canada. I will have a link in the video description below that will give you, it's my referral link. It will give you a 5% off coupon, so you can save a little bit of money when placing your order. Again, toysnowman.com. They are based in Canada, so the prices that you see on the website are actually the Canadian dollar price. It is not the US dollar price, so please be aware of that when checking out the site. But toysnowman.com is awesome in Canada. They've really been getting figures in a much earlier than here in the United States. So in orders over $99, they actually have free shipping. So it actually works out real well. So toysnowman.com, my referral link in the video description below to get you a 5% off coupon. Here we have Sabertooth, the X-Men logo there, the Age of Apocalypse logo up the top. The corner says Build-A-Figure Colossus. Side artwork of Sabertooth looking very, very cool and very, very menacing. I really like that with Apocalypse there in the background. Here on the back of the package, we get that same look at Sabertooth, and we have his bio, which reads, after betraying Apocalypse and making his escape, Sabertooth joins with the mutant rebels, the X-Men, to fight for good in a harsh dystopian future. So crazy stuff in the Age of Apocalypse storyline. We're about in the middle of the wave. I've done Legion already, so next up will be Shadowcat and then Iceman to round it out before the Colossus Build-A-Figure video itself. Here is Sabertooth. Let's get him out of the box. I actually completely forgot about this. There's multiple ponytail options. So when it was in the package and I saw the ponytail below, I just assumed that was already attached to the head. I forgot it's actually two separate pieces. So you can change out the ponytails. Not sure exactly why, but we will take a look at that. And then the bandana piece that covers Colossus's head also comes apart, and it looks like just the ever so slight ball joint there, or ball peg, that's gonna go onto the back of the head. So yeah, let's take a look at that. Okay, so before we get into the Sabertooth figure itself, so we'll take a look at here. So we have this ever so tiny ball peg and a port right there, and we're just gonna port those straps right on in there for the Colossus Build-A-Figure head piece, and there we have it. So we'll get that off to the side, and we'll take a look at all those Colossus pieces on the Build-A-Figure review video. I want to talk about these ponytails because I don't remember the significance, and if any of you guys remember, I know they had talked about it in a live stream at some point, but I don't understand the purpose of it. I mean, they can articulate the ponytail, which they've done before, but why they had it as a separate piece? Because these two ponytails are the exact same. So why not just have it already sculpted and glued on to the figure, already attached to the head? They didn't attach it, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was just easier in package wise to do it this way so it doesn't break off, because you know it could be thin. But if they had the swivel, it's just odd to me that they would pack it in, pack two of them in when they're the exact same. Like it's just really, really, really strange to me. But there it is, as you can see there. And again, they're the exact same, because both of these head sculpts actually share the exact same hair mold. It's just the face itself that is different, but the hair is 100% the exact same. So the ponytails are the exact same. Additional accessories, he has two hands. So here we have a fist for his left hand and a fist for the right hand, which kind of has this armor plating on there, because on his right arm he does have this gauntlet piece, which is, I believe, the hand that he uses for the chain for Wild Child, or I guess he can hold on to it. So we will see all of that kind of together, I will do a comparison with the Apocalypse Wave Sabertooth, the one that we got before, the Jim Lee style. But yeah, let's talk about Sabertooth. Okay, so before we take a closer look at the Sabertooth figure, I just wanted to get this out of the way. This body that we have for Sabertooth is the exact same body as this the Colossus figure that was released in the Warlock wave. The difference, of course, being the arms, the head sculpt, the lower legs, the boots are different, of course. And then one thing that they did for Sabertooth, oh, let me get the hair out of the way, is they added this port in the back to support that collar. That's how the collar kind of stays in place. It's just kind of sitting in there and ports into Sabertooth's back. So that is the only difference, but it does reuse this body. So it was only a matter of time before Hasbro would release, would reuse this body mold. I'm surprised it's taken them this long, because that Warlock wave, it's been a few years now, right? I don't even remember what year that wave came out. 2015? 16? I don't even remember. You guys let me know down in the comments below if you remember. Okay, so here's an up-close look at Sabertooth. The head sculpt is fantastic. I really, really like it. If I were to nitpick a little bit of thing, he almost looks a little shiny plastic, but it's not so bad. The other one doesn't look so bad because it adds a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow around his beard and stuff, whereas this one doesn't really have that on his chin, but it looks really, really damn good. The ponytail, as you can see here, and again, it swivels because you poured it in. That all looks pretty good. The collar piece looks pretty good. We kind of get like this, it's not real shiny, it's kind of a little bit more dull on that collar, but I like, you know, the leather boundness of it. You know, you kind of have some scratches and stuff in there. It's sculpted really nicely. I really like the way it came out. There, it is a little bit different than like the one Wild Child has. You kind of get that same leather effect, but you know, the rivets or whatever it is on there, they're a lot bigger for Sabertooth, and you know, not as many. The silvers don't really match. This is kind of a much brighter silver, whereas this one's a little bit more dull, but not a whole lot else. We actually get some hair in there. It's all sculpted in there with a little bit of paint. Now the paint doesn't really match where the sculpt is, but it helps bring out the texture of it. So instead, like with most Wolverine figures where you just get it sculpted hair, but then there's no paint to really show it, we get a little bit of paint there. I think it should have more paint, but at least we got something that looks good. But again, I really do think there should have been more paint to really help highlight the arm hair there. We get this brown belt piece there. It's done and has this nice leather look to it on the sculpt. That is pretty good. The same with the gloves. We get a nice like leathery texture to it. Looks pretty good. Here, a couple of things. So the silver is painted on the hand. That looks fantastic. But then the gauntlet piece on his arm is just molded, cheap-ass gray looking plastic. That matches the chain that we got with Wild Child, whereas the armor plate piece there on the hand has a very nice silver metallic paint to it, but right there, the gauntlet piece on his arm just doesn't quite match and looks a little cheap. I wish they would have done that. And then the hinge, they didn't bother painting the hinge. It's just all brown, so it looks kind of bad on the plate, but works for the inside of the hand. But it sucks that we don't get the silver on the outside. And then he just has brown boots. So that's it for Sabertooth. But we're gonna pop this head off. Comes off pretty easily. A little ass ball peg for a big ass figure. Let's pop on this other head sculpt. It goes on there, and this head sculpt I like a lot more. The hair is the same, but we get this like angry looking face where he's showing more teeth. We get a little bit more of a 5 o'clock shadow on his chin for a beard. This one, his eyes kind of have like a silver color. It's kind of hard to know. It's more like a silver color instead of normal people looking eyes. You just kind of have this whited, silvered out. It looks a little bit more menacing, but yeah, this head sculpt looks really good. This is the head sculpt that I'm going to keep on the figure because I think it just looks a whole hell of a lot better. And again, the hair though is the exact same. Those are the same hair pieces. You can see the same curls up in the top of the hair, same sideburns and everything. But that right there is an absolutely awesome head sculpt. Okay, so let's go over Sabertooth's articulation. He can look down quite a bit. He can look up actually quite a bit as well. That ponytail, there's a little bit of play and wiggle room in there, so you can get him to look up, which is awesome. Not really a whole lot of pivot going on in there, but you can do a full rotation, of course. The arms, his shoulders, they can go straight out. Get a full rotation, of course. You have an upper bicep swivel in there. We get a single jointed elbow only, so that single jointed elbow gives you less than 90 degrees, so not ideal, but the arms do look really good. Usually with larger figures, we tend to only get a single elbow, which sucks, but if you were to add in a second joint, kind of like with the Cyclops figure, you can't really get a whole lot of function out of them, so I think that kind of would have been the case here, so I don't mind the single jointed elbow, but more range definitely would have been nice. The hands, the wrist swivel, and they do hinge. They got the same hinge on both sets of hands, so the fists and the open holding hands. There you have an ab crunch on Sabertooth, so he can crunch forward that much, he can go back that much. You have a waist swivel in there. You just kind of have to move that belt around a little bit to get it to move where you need it to move. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that high there. The leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed elbow, which only gives you that much bend because that boot is hitting the back of his leg. Is there a boot swivel? There is no boot swivel, so it's just sculpted all the way through up to that knee. No swivel, unfortunately. Foot hinges all the way down. We get not really any hinge going up. Ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So decent, not a whole lot, and he's just kind of a big ass dude. So I mean, usually larger characters aren't really going to be moving around a whole lot. Unfortunately, I don't have a Toy Biz figure to show you guys a comparison, but what I do have for you, again, is that one that came in the Apocalypse. Was it the Apocalypse wave or was it the Caliban wave? I don't even remember now, but we have the Jim Lee version of Sabertooth, and this was kind of my favorite. I didn't, you know, it wasn't perfect. It uses the Hyperion body mold, which I really, really don't like. But I really do like the design and how kind of the figure ends up looking aesthetically. But this new Sabertooth is just a beast. I mean, look at the size difference between the two. But yeah, this thing is incredible. I really, really, really like it. And of course, here is Sabertooth next to Wild Child. Now, their oranges are pretty close. They're not the exact same. This one is a little bit brighter, I would say, whereas Wild Child looks a little bit more dull. But they do look really good together, and I'm glad we finally got the pair of them together. It's only taken a year, but we got them. We got him. So now I'm going to kind of set this up. You know, I'm going to hook this chain piece onto the back collar of Wild Child, and then I will get Sabertooth to hold on to the chain, and we'll see if I can make it look semi-cool or decent looking. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so I got, this is kind of the position that I got Sabertooth and Wild Child in, and I'm kind of proud of myself. No! Shit. Well, I'm going to leave that in the video for you guys to see, but just know that he was balanced on there with the chain holding. Damn it. See, that's what I get for kind of moving it back. But I did have it, and I thought it looked pretty cool. Damn. I did take a picture, so I'll post that to Instagram at least. And it's probably going to be the thumbnail, but I think it looked pretty cool. Okay, so I did it again to show you guys how cool that actually can really look. So you got the loops in the chain, so you can fit those into Sabertooth's hand that he's holding the chain. You know, there is one particular image where you can actually see, you know, Sabertooth and Wild Child together. Let me see if I could brighten that up, if you guys can see that. So you can see that, you know, they're on the two with Wild Child all over his shoulder and the chain holding it back. I think that can actually look really cool. So I'm going to be excited to see some of the images that people are going to be able to do with the pairing of these two figures, and, you know, how the chain, how creative some folks can get. All I could do is try my best to kind of recreate something that already exists from a comic panel or whatever the case may be, or a scene from a movie. But I think this actually came out looking pretty cool. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think, though. You know, there's a few different things and kind of how you could do it. You do have to kind of be careful because there's not a lot of give on that chain, and then the chain always kind of wants to come off from Wild Child's collar, and then it's hard to position the figures because as you move it around, you know, that chain just kind of wants to revert back to its original form. So then a lot of times it kind of pulls and comes apart. So you kind of have to really get used to it. Bendy wire like chain would have been insane and really cool, but unfortunately that is not the case. But a lot of fun with these two figures together, kind of posing them around and doing what you can with it. You know, I don't really pose the figures a whole lot. I don't really do a lot of photography, but every now and then I do like to have fun with certain pairings and how you could do what you could do with the figures and recreating a scene or whatever the case may be. And having these two figures, I think it adds a lot to the fun factor of what you can do. So it's pretty awesome. Okay, here so far the X-Men Age of Apocalypse Wave 2 with the Colossus Build-A-Figure. Here are the 5 figures that I have reviewed so far, and clearly Sabertooth is quite large and takes up basically about the size of 2 figures together, but the wave is rounding out to be pretty good, minus that Cyclops figure, of course. Okay, and there's my review of the Sabertooth figure. I really like it. I highly recommend this figure, but, you know, you guys let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on it. I think it's worth picking up. You guys might disagree, but I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thank you for watching. And again, my referral link to toysnowman.com based in Canada for a 5% off coupon. Link in the video description below.